So you guys broadcast this
Oh,
live.
yeah. Good day, all, and it's an amazing evening today while having Monica Larrabeiti, actually one of my greatest mentors that I worked with, that actually was influencing me since 2015 until 2018. I believe that you're involved in my coach training and mentoring, and actually Monica is an example of bringing in transformational presence in practice. Actually, whenever you sit with her, it's actually an amazing deep transformational moments with very simple questions, with mere presence, with you find this bubble around you everywhere, and this with all this love and compassion. So I'm really welcoming you to the studio and this show and podcast today, Monica. It's a pleasure having you here. How are you?
It's my pleasure to be here with you, Mohammed. I'm blushing out of
Yeah.
all the words that you just said. And I'm very, very happy to be here with you, to reconnect with you, and a real pleasure. Hmm.
It is just the what do you call it? It's just the surface of 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 what I have about the so it's just the beginning. So actually, when I was when we were talking together about these interviews, and actually it just came in like it's totally deep transformational whatever coaching presence. It was this is where actually I always this is the first for me for over years, the first encountered real transformational presence that I actually I lived was actually through sessions with you, and actually being being my coach and my mentor. And actually this is something that I believe that needs a lot of inner work. And I would love actually for you to introduce to our audience today, to bring in what is transformational presence and how it's developed, and how it can actually support them in their development. And I believe you're affiliated with the Center for Transformational Presence with IDDI, and you bring this actually into the coach training and mentoring that you already are doing. So I'll just leave the floor. I'm so excited having you here. So talking about
Okay.
I talk too much.
Thank you. Yeah, there were several questions there.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to transformational presence, and you were mentioning that it's an inside work. Yes, it is, because it's really coming from the inside out. It's connecting at our core, I would say, with what we truly are, with our essence, and relate from there to the world. So to me, a word that uh, captures it is love, you know, to love whatever is in front of you, outside of you, and inside of you. And when I say love, I mean non resistance, openness, welcoming it all, allowing whatever is there, and trusting, really trusting that whatever is unfolding is what needs to unfold. And so dance with it. This is what comes to me when you're talking transformational presence and inside work. This is what comes. It's, am I resisting or am I loving? And being very aware, kind of self-managing, because what's resisting is an idea of me that is not my core, that is not my essential being. The idea of me might have the need to defend, to show up in a certain way, to not just be. So presence is beingness. And yes, I work with the Center for Transformational Coaching as a learning leader there, also with the IDDI and university in Spain, also with LCE in Egypt. And I really love coaching. And I love coaching because it really focuses at the strength in all of us, at our magnificence, And rather than having to give solutions, any solutions that may come from a past experience, it's allowing an openness so that the solutions emerge from the client, from the client and from me as a coach in the moment, but not coming with something ready, prepared, because anything prepared is past. And I love the freshness of the present, the unknown.
It's amazing how you bring it, and how you articulate it, resisting versus loving and being open. So I believe that there is a lot behind here. So being in the moment, not resisting, dancing, openness, and actually receiving. It's not easy. It's as if as much simple as the vocabulary is, but living it is something else. So can you tell me how
Yeah.
you bring in leading transformations and coaching, and how this brings value to to how you bring people into this, and how you bring people from being not coaches to coaches who are present, open, and not resisting and being in the moment?
Well, you're saying it's difficult. And yeah, it can be difficult because we've been used or conditioned to add many layers of thinking of I should be this, I should be that, I should be other than what I am already. So I bring this difficulty or complexity because we're wanting to add to ourselves. And when I talk transformation is more a subtractive thing, it's more of a letting go. I don't need more things or more qualities. I just need to let go of the barriers or the resistances or the improvements that I want to make in myself and just be. But it's not easy because we want to control and we are not trusting ourselves and our innate wisdom, our innate capacity to just be and do whatever makes sense in the next moment, because we have grown into more insecurity because of our conditioning. So it's a letting go process, I would say. Being aware first, being aware of what's disturbing me, and usually it's an inner dialogue that says I should be more that or less that than, or my client should be X or Z. Whereas if I let go of those shoulds, of those inner judgments, of those, yeah, those ideas, I can be naked, truly. But it's like the way when you are with someone that you love, with a kid, or it's like very spontaneous.
Mm.
It's very spontaneous because you don't need to show up a certain way, because there's a big trust that whatever is unfolding is what's meant. And for our clients as well, I mean, they can come with many ideas of I should be this or that, to fix myself, to arrange myself, to kind of solve myself or a situation, wherever. When we allow, by being a presence, a certain presence, when we allow our minds to quiet down, to be more still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in myself now. I don't know if you notice it in the space,
Yeah.
but just that stillness allows for the generative potential for whatever is ready to emerge to do so. And we are, I mean, we're capable, we're strong, we're powerful, by nature. By nature, we're connected to the, call it divine wisdom, call it universal wisdom. The only thing that it's in the way is a belief that tells us otherwise. That I don't know, that I. And so when clients say to me, I don't know, I don't believe them. So I can respect that, but I can be quiet inside and just meet them where they are, knowing that if they quiet their minds, if they allow their minds to be more still, an idea is going to pop up, you know, an idea that is fresh. They're going to connect to that. We're all connected, so it's easy. Once you trust, it's easy. And I also believe that a desire comes with the solution, or a problem comes with the solution. They're together, you know. So I don't need to figure it out or find out. I just need to let the client or the person talk, express, and I listen, I listen, I listen. I take from the words that call my attention and just um, allow the generative potential in them to just unfold, to emerge.
Wow. How you articulate it actually, because I lived that with you, and I believe it happens. Yes, yes. As you know, as a first-hand experience, yes, that really happens. Um, I believe that the hardest part is making our minds go still and slowing it down,
Yeah, yeah,
and being in the part of, full trust that this unfolding is going to get into a result, as much as it shows a lot of depth, it shows a lot of uncertainty. Some people call it caving, so as if you're just having one step at a time, having this torchlight in a cave, and just, having one step. So it's really an ambiguous part where some people feel suffocated and uncertain that this will lead to any solution or any outcome, as if you're
yeah,
thinking with the client. And some people don't feel comfortable at all there, and they just want to pull themselves out, and it is easier to advise or easier to give some sort of judgment, or just pull off this conversation and maybe select an easier topic on it, or because actually it's full of emotions, full of somehow uncertainty, ambiguity, darkness. you know
yeah,
so
yeah,
how do you actually work this, internally? How can you bring through this, yes, there is, I trust that there is light at the end, and this is the process, this is where we
yeah,
should be, and this is where we are. I'm not sure, I would just like to hear it from you, so
yeah. Well, at the Center for Transformational Coaching, we say, and in Leon's book, Leon is the founder of the center, and his book is A Shift in Being. And we say our transformation enables transformation. So we work on our transformation as coaches, because it's not a it's when you trust, you cannot make trust happen. I mean, it's you can say you trust, but deep down you can know if you're trusting or not. And in this book, the 9 transformational practices are practices in order to become the loving presence that we are. So it might require a practice for us as coaches to reach that level of trust, or the level of trust that we're ready to reach in that moment, and it keeps increasing. It's a holistic trust in life, truly, by working on the tool here, and by knowing, not just by saying. So it requires work, yes, inner work, as you were saying at the beginning. And when you say that clients might feel uncomfortable, of course. And as coaches, we don't try to force our clients anywhere that they are not ready to go. So if a client is not ready to reach that essential level in themselves, we can just listen to whatever they need to express, and allow that, I mean, and meet them where they are. And but if we as coaches are seated in that presence, are connected to our, I would say, our spiritual heart, I don't know what words to use, to source, to mm, it when you're quiet, when you're still yourself, and you're connected there, the questions and the way of connecting to the client and the interaction is going to be kind of perfect, a perfect dance, because you're not trying to force anything. If you're still inside, you're not trying to force anything. And if clients ask you for advice, I can imagine, okay, someone asking me for advice. What, I don't know, ask me for advice, and I'll
Uh,
see what I would answer.
well, I would like to ask you what could be my next question, for instance.
What could be your next question?
Yes.
Okay. So if you sit with that question, what comes up to you? I would just say that.
Hmm. Okay.
And you can tell me, I don't know.
Well, maybe at
Oh,
this moment I don't know.
okay. So maybe if you stay there in this I don't know, and just don't try to resist it, see what happens. Or maybe I would ask, what if you knew? What would you be knowing in this moment? It depends on the moment what comes to me. But it's not having the questions ready, but it's really about connecting to the core of the client, and just welcoming whatever comes from the client. Because sometimes as coaches, if we don't want them to ask for advice, or if we don't want them to say I don't know, we get triggered inside, and we lose our own stillness. So it's again loving it all, welcoming it all. There's nothing at risk, really. There's nothing at risk. You can just allow the question that comes to be asked, or just keep the silence, but connected to the client and knowing. I always come from the knowing that they have what they need, but they're not aware right now. And the more I am still, the more I can allow the stillness in them, and they come up with their own ideas, solutions, threads from where I can pull as a coach. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, yes, makes a lot of sense. And actually, I've seen the best coaching experiences, is when you don't want really to force anything. And
Yeah.
I believe that this causes magic as much as it seems like, you're not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That,
The less is more. It's as if you're not doing anything, but you're
mm,
being everything.
mhm,
You're being and allowing everything.
mhm,
And from there magic happens, as you're saying.
mhm.
Because the wanting to get somewhere, or to do, or to force anything, gets in the way of the natural unfolding of life, and awareness in each one of us. And it's counterintuitive, because we've been taught the opposite, that you need to figure life out, you need to make it happen, you need to put effort, and so on and so forth. And it's counterintuitive, because it's more of a relaxing into yourself, and just see what wants to emerge. It's more like a game.
You know,
it
you know
is a
something.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something. Some people, when they're, some of our clients who are maybe our audience now, actually are leaders who actually don't understand the value of having this experience with a coach, or maybe having somebody who is actually there for them, just to help them, support them to silence their minds and go through this deep transformational journey, and allow them just to be, and they see that they can do this alone in a meditation session, or maybe they can just uh, so what can come up with them, like stories or something that can support them to actually rethink looking at this coaching deep transformational experiences.
Mm, because you're saying that they might reach that point in their own meditation.
They
And
can
what does
actually they
a
can
coach add?
Yes, you didn't do anything. You just came here and you just asked me some questions, and you're just silent. And I came up with the solutions. So why do you want to get paid in the end? This, what are you paid for? So
It never happened to me, Mohammed. It never happened to me. I did it all myself, and because in a way, they say, wow, that was impossible, I wouldn't have reached this without you. And I know that it's not, I mean, that it's not the truth that they could reach that, but in a way they feel the presence, the company, there's it's a very active generative presence. Even it could be a generative silence. So what would I tell them if that happened? Well, maybe if that happened and I feel it, so I could tell them, okay, don't pay me. I'm fine. you know, I don't know, but it never happened to me, because I really believe that this is not just presence, presence, like in this way, generative presence and connecting to the client and to their inner wisdom, and they reach a well of wisdom that is really unknown to them, that it's really, they can say something like, wow, I never thought of this, or this never occurred to me, or because it's coming from another place, it's coming from a deeper place. It's like when you have intuitions or things like that, an idea that comes out of nowhere. And this happens when your mind is quiet, when you're in nature, or in the shower, or just having a gathering with friends, and you're not self-conscious about anything, and you're not trying to find any solutions, but really just being kind of an empty space of potentiality, because it's empty and at the same time full of possibilities. And the possibility that is ready for you, for your project, for whatever you have in mind as a client, is going to pop up much more faster and directly than if we're like going through many ideas. And we can also go through ideas and through what worked for you in the past. It's not negating the asking questions and the going back to your experience and things like that, but it's doing it from a place of, I don't need to reach anywhere. And the fact that I don't need to reach anywhere diminishes any tension, and from there the creativity is much more blossoming.
Oh, how you articulate it, looks like, that's it really proves that you've been there many times, and actually, thank you for sharing this wisdom, and and how you put this from the heart. And we have two comments that are coming to us from the different social media. This is from LinkedIn, and she's Dina Safwat Mustafa.
Oh,
She's sending
Dina.
you
Hi, Dina. Nice,
some
nice
hearts, and not
hearing
for
from
me, it's
you.
only for Monica.
I'm not seeing you.
Okay. And this is Hiba Abdel Ghani. She sent this.
Hi, Eva.
Yeah, she's saying that this is culture difference when it comes, that's, she was telling about the clients who are not satisfied by, that you already created this generative space. She was actually putting this comment while you were just saying the last, answer. She was saying that I believe that she's referring to the fact that the generative space is somehow, this is what we know that we are doing as coaches, and this is where we support our clients. But actually, the fact that they don't see us doing, you sweating the effort, to make them, they want to see us, like you sat for an hour and you're just asking questions and you were there and I just came up with the ideas. So what did you do? This is why you hired me. Come on. So, so you couldn't have done this on your own. If you could have done this on your own, you could have done it without me. Just so.
Yeah.
He's mentioning that this may be a culture different. Yeah,
Well,
and
and also the aim of coaching is that they can do it on their own,
yeah,
because if not, it would create a dependency. So it's really those processes in which the clients end up um, being able to tap into their own resourcefulness much faster and easier, and when they have a new challenge coming up that they're not able to deal with, they go back to the coach, to kind of have a magnifying glass and more of a, I don't know, kind of a light in which to focus in this moment, because I'm so darkened by my own thoughts and of not being able to solve it,
yeah,
but yeah, we all are resourceful, and the
yeah.
coach accelerates or catalyzes the
Yes,
process.
that's very true. Because actually, so for 15 years we've been opening the company, and you just took this decision in this 1 hour. So, what do you think has changed? Before knowing me after this session.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, and Dina is sending some love
It's a
again.
yeah, Dina, love how you describe the space as empty yet so full. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and again,
full and so
yeah,
empty. Yeah.
she's again
Hmm.
sending you some further. She's trying
Thank
to
you,
to,
Dina.
to soothe me, sending me thank you, Sharaf, definitely. But Monica is mesmerizing as always. So she's actually, in a way, agree.
She's mesmerizing too.
Yeah. Okay. So that's two for Monica, one for Sharaf. Okay. So, okay, so we're now on the minute, 27th minute, and there is a lot to actually to bring in here in this space of the transformational coaching. And I believe that we are just scratching the surface with this, interview. So can maybe, if we are going to continue doing, other episodes, if you allow us, what would be,
Mhm.
brought to the table maybe in the next episodes or the next conversations to shed more light and more understanding of this experience, and how our clients actually are,
Yeah.
can benefit from it and actually understand it more or less.
Well, one thing that was emerging in me that I didn't mention in this type of coaching, any transformational coaching, we explore ways of being, not just doing. That's a very important one. So, who do you choose to be here? Not just what are you going to do? Because when we tackle the being and our self-concept and who we think we can be, this is what's truly transformational, because you're kind of actualizing your operating system, your levels of consciousness and your operating system. And from there, the new doing that stems from there is radically different. Versus if you don't question your ways of being or states of being, the doing can just be limited to who you think you are, you know. And if we don't explore who you think you are, it's limited. It works also because everything works. I mean, I'm very inclusive of all the methods. But if we talk transformation, to me, it's very important to tackle or to focus on being level awareness. This what's staying there as something that I didn't mention. That is
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
And so, actually, yeah, what else? Yeah.
No, then your question was lingering inside. So what else could we tackle? Work on yourself as a coach. I mean, on your own way of being as a coach, because as I mentioned before, our transformation enables transformation, And the more you're able to be with all kinds of situations and notice if there's a resistance and letting go of the resistance and just again embody more of your essential being, the more you allow that for your clients. I mean, if your ceiling is a limit for your clients, the more your ceiling is the sky is the limit. I mean, you know, the more you grow into your own awareness or being level awareness, the more you can be that space for any client to grow into in
So,
themselves.
so in a way, you may mentioning this, like that the ceiling, of who you in a way that is presented by the space that the coach allows for the clients, the ceiling for.
Yeah.
So in a way, this puts responsibility, a huge responsibility of the coaches on the coaches to actually work themselves upwards, in terms of understanding that, that they can be anything, and understanding that, you have to let go of your ego completely inside this.
Yeah. I mean, the work of a coach as a coach in developing the tool in growing this tool is very very important. In the end, you are the tool, and the ICF is also acknowledging this with the inclusion of the developing a coaching mindset and keeping developing ourselves as a competency in the new competencies of the ICF. That one is very important, and also having into account the context of the clients, because if I come just with my own conditioning and my own cultural context, and I meet a client from Egypt, for instance, when like in the past, and I come with my things of do's and don'ts, and I try to guide my client into my own perceptual reality, I'm going to mislead. But this that can be very clear in when there's cultural differences is also clear with a Spanish woman with another Spanish woman, because both of us have been conditioned differently. So again, is rather than coming from our own conditioning, from our own beliefs, is coming from our own potentiality, which is the same that in the other one. The potentiality has no form, and it takes the form that is adapted to the conditioning of each one. But as potentiality, it's formless and it's universal, and this is the more we can connect at that level with anyone, the less we're limiting with the form, with the conditioning, with a specific shape. Mm.
Yeah, actually, I was just exploring, this fact, and it's actually, that's we always try to define ourselves in ways that serve our existence, to protect our beloved, and actually to protect things that we already owned in this life. In a way, it comes in from our desire to own, our desire to protect, our desire to secure, to be safe
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah,
And sometimes, the fact of letting go, the fact of that you don't need to own, you are safe, you are secure, you are already full with everything. this is these are the moments, when you just let go of whatever attachments you are having. It is really the place where you start unfolding this potentiality and be whoever you want to be. So it's you know
yeah,
mm,
yeah,
and it's hard
yeah,
to keep it all
yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah. No one says that it's not hard. Sometimes it is to let go of something that you believe is giving you a sense of safety, protection, and so on. And before you mentioned the dissolution or the letting go of the ego, and what needs to be secured in ourselves is that idea of ourselves as separate from the source, you know. So so that letting go or resistance to letting go comes from that fearful place in us. And yeah, it needs to be done gradually. You know, it's letting go one by one as they unfold. It's not like, okay, now I'm going to let go of my life. No, you just live life and you live a specific situation. And that situation is showing you some resistance, some stuckness, some blocking. And so by facing that situation, you can choose to let go of that something because you realize that in this moment, that something is imprisoning you more than allowing yourself to be, you know. But it's a very one by one um, situation. It's very gradual. Life is not going to give you more than you can take in this moment. And
Yeah.
again, that this moment is again very, very important, you know. We're not trying to solve life also. We're just trying to live this moment. And am I living this moment by loving it or by resisting it and judging it? And yeah, just observe and choose again. What do I want to be? Who do I choose to be in this moment? So
Yeah.
it's not about letting go of everything all of a sudden. But now what's coming is a quote by Rumi that I love, which is you don't need to look for love anywhere. You just need to look inside to all the barriers that you've built against it. Again, going back to the subtractive, you know, like in essence, there's nothing to protect, there's nothing to defend, but we think so because we have identified ourselves with an idea of self that is limited, that needs to be protected, that doesn't feel safe, that feels insecure, that needs to compete, that needs to survive. And beyond the physical survival of the body, all of the rest of letting goes are of an idea of self, of an identity that I have created and
Hmm.
that is imprisoning me. In order to keep it safe, that identity, you know, if I am associating or identifying myself with being, I don't know, kind, and so someone is coming with a knife and threatening me, but I need to be kind. So my personality and my identity, the one I have built, is imprisoning me, is limiting me in that moment because I can be it all as potentiality, you know. And in that moment, if someone comes threatening me, I can be super aggressive. And if I am identified with I am only kind, I cannot shout or be aggressive at all. I'm already imprisoned. You know, it's like a straight jacket that we put onto ourselves. And it's okay, do I want to let go in this moment of my identity of being only kind in order to widen my range, widen my ceiling, and have all the possibilities at hand and being able to choose in each moment who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? Because if not, the personality, the conditioning, the who I think myself to be is going to be kind of a prison.
Yeah.
And it's going to configure my behavior, but not coming from a place of choice, but coming from a place of conditioning, autopilot,
Wow.
you know. And the more we can help our clients and everyone who's open for it, I mean, not forcing anyone who doesn't want to hear about this at all, with no need, But for those who are open, if we can help them see how we all imprison ourselves innocently since we're kids, because we start believing certain things and certain personality traits that we never questioned again, and so we start living in a world made of thought. It's a thought created world, and based on the past, and there's no freshness, there's no nowness to it, there's no aliveness to it. It's kind of a replica of the same program time after time. But life is so wise, it's so amazingly orchestrated by, put the word that you want, God, divine, absolute intelligence, whatever. So divinely orchestrated that it's going to keep sending you seemingly challenges so that you can break that shell and move through it, by being aware, letting go, growing into your own magnificence, your own potentiality again, as when we were kids, that we had no limits, but this time with more wisdom.
So it was amazing, Monica. You know how this discussion went through, and we now even surpassed the 30 minutes by 11 more minutes. And actually, I'm really grateful for this time that I'm spending here and with our audience, with you. So, how do you like to wrap up? In the end of this, episode.
Um, I am grateful. It really passed so quickly for me as well, Mohammed. And thank you very much for counting on me and having offered me this opportunity of sharing what I really love and what I think I was born for.
That's amazing. Monica, those who want to actually access your services or want actually to have maybe your mentoring coaching services, how can they contact you? Can you just speak a little bit about how people can contact with you, to receive your services?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. My website, I think you have been announcing my website, right? There's my contact there, Monica. Yeah, you have the data there. My email, Monica Larrazaga uh, at gmail.com, and my website are there. In my website, you can also see my phone if you want to connect and have a Zoom talk, or in person if you want, if you're in Spain, and sometimes I travel to Egypt as well. So these are the places where you can find me. Hmm.
So amazing, Monica. That's really, I'm really thankful for you, and actually thankful for this time, and thankful for those who are actually, and very grateful for those who are watching us until now. And I believe that, it has been an amazing discussion for more than 40 minutes now. Thank you for that.
You're
And
very welcome. I'm so happy, Mohammed. Thank you.
thank you, and hope you can give us some extra time for another episode. Maybe you can go further with this transformational deep coaching. Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Okay,
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
bye.